Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for your patience. I'm from Oregon, and we have a situation with our southern 4 counties involving cartels growing massive amounts of marijuana and utilizing folks without the benefit of documentation in those operations. We have asked Attorney General Merrick Garland for help. I specifically wrote letters to him twice asking for 80 people to help. You have asked actually for, I think, a number of people to help you in your district or in your department, but you've encountered the problems with direct hire or as opposed to standard hire, and you've asked actually for direct hire be given back, the authority be given back to you. Would you please reassert your request to the folks that are in charge of this, the Director of Office of Personnel, and get us some help in Southern Oregon so we can begin to head off some of the incredible damage the cartels are doing, utilizing, I'm going to say, undocumented immigrants in that space. I was one of the people that went to the border just a few days ago, went down to San Diego. I saw, of course, that the detention facilities are dramatically inadequate and that folks are being released into the United States when they don't fit in the detention facility, which is right now. We found out that there was no means of finding folks once they are released, no way of tracking them. We found out that there's not the full and complete background analysis on these folks as they come in that could be done, being done. And just as Congressman Ice has said, Title 42 is currently being ignored. We're not sure who gave that order, but that's what's happening. The Border Patrol is overwhelmed, and they need help. I was somewhat surprised when you indicated that you would, I think you didn't really use the word welcome, but you could certainly put to work the 20,000 folks that it was suggested we prevented from being hired. But I have here, which I would ask be offered into the record, it is your budgets. Actually, it's the FY 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22 budgets for your department, the CBP, the ICE, EOIR, and CIS. And I think the budget tells a story of what you really want to do because it shows how much money you're asking for or not asking for in each of these spaces. For example, for the Border Patrol, this year it's $18 billion, fiscal year, I'm sorry, last year was $18 billion, this year it's $16 billion. For some reason, the amount that you asked for is less by $2 billion for Border Patrol. Next year, it goes back to $17 billion, but still far less than the $20 billion that they had available in 2020. In ICE, this goes right to the heart of whether you are really truly asking for, planning on picking up people across the United States. Your budget drops from the $9 billion in 2020 down to $8 billion in 2023. So I would suggest that that shows better than anything what your real plans are, which is not to take people out of the United States that are here illegally. Finally, I think it's incredibly important that people actually look at the fact sheet that President Biden has sent out to commitment to modernize our immigration system. Almost every element in this so-called fact sheet has nothing to do with securing the border. There is one bullet point at the end that talks about it. The rest of them talk about how to facilitate those who immigrate, how to help those who immigrate. Now, it needs to be important. This one thing that gets lost in this, that we Republicans support legal immigration. We want legal immigration. But what you are doing, your administration, is failing to protect the border and making it almost impossible to correctly address issues of immigration. So when people become upset and angry, as the folks that I represent are, back in the little state of Oregon, they wonder why in the world, by throwing the border open, you are making it so hard to get help up on our farms and our ranches and using H-2A, H-2B, and H-2C programs. So what I'm trying to say to you is, your failures to do what you should be doing are making it almost impossible to get valid and needed and absolutely necessary immigration reform. With that, I yield to the ranking member, Mr. Jordan.
Thank you, gentlemen. Mr. Secretary, who's Nina Jankowicz?
She is the newly appointed individual in our Office of Policy in the Department of Homeland Security. And
is she the new executive director of the Disinformation? Is she the new executive director for Disinformation Governance Board?
She is the executive director of the Disinformation Governance Board.
And is this the same individual who said the dossier was real and the Hunter Biden laptop story was false? Is that the individual who's now running the Disinformation Governance Board?
I'm not familiar with those
It's been
statements.
reported widely.
I'm unfamiliar with those
I'm
things.
just asking that
The
is,
gentleman's time has expired. For the purpose
is
of
an
a
eminently
unanimous consent
qualified-
request, Ms. Jackson Lee.